Hey, it's Greg Boudreaux, one of the artists and co-directors of the Vigil project, and this week we're continuing our conversation about Catholic music. Last week I challenged you and invited you to go deep and to look at what makes us afraid to sing. This week, kind of along the same line of thinking, I want to ask a different question, maybe the positive side of the same question. What would happen if we all overcame that fear and started to sing in freedom? The first thing I think we'd see is we would just, in a general way, experience deeper interior freedom, deeper spiritual freedom, deeper freedom to be the person that God's made us to be. In fact, the Catechism tells us as much. If we turn to paragraph number 2097, it says this: "The worship of the one God sets man free from turning in on himself, from the slavery of sin, and from the idolatry of the world." In essence, when we live in worship, it's the opposite of sin. And isn't this our goal in the Christian life? And so God's given us the gift of song as a way to worship Him. And so if you and I start to enter into that song of praise, that song of worship, that song of prayer in freedom, then maybe we'd see freedom in many places within our own hearts. I think a second thing that we would see if we overcame our fear and started to sing in freedom is deeper communion in a general way. We've talked about how the purpose of song in the first place, God's given it to us so that we can draw closer to Him and closer to each other. I think we'd start to see that if we overcame our fear of singing together and started singing a sincere song of praise, a sincere song of worship, a sincere prayer to Him. A third thing I think we'd experience if we started to overcome our fear of singing maybe seems a little odd at first. I think we'd experience deeper silence. My wife Lizzie and I, when we have time to have a deep conversation and to actually, listen to each other and respond to each other and sort of get it all out and talk it all through, a lot of times what happens is there's nothing left to say. And there's a deep rest in the silence. There's no words needed. And that's not a silence, it's just empty. There's something being communicated there. And it's precisely this: communion. Knowing that I'm with her and she's with me. This is what can happen if you and I enter into the depths of song, to the depths of prayer. I think we'd actually end up at the point where we don't need the song anymore, where the silence would be enough, where we could rest in God, know that He's with us, know that we're His. This is the reason that we sing. And I think we'd begin to experience deeper silence if we began to enter more freely into song. So last week I gave you an invitation, I gave you a challenge. I challenged you to go to prayer and to go with Jesus and to ask Him to reveal to you, where are you afraid to sing and why? This week I want to invite you into a similar kind of prayer. Let's go this week and ask Jesus, set me free to worship you without fear. And let's ask Him where in our hearts we still need His freedom, so that we can worship Him, so that we can praise Him, so that we can pray and enter into this conversation, enter into this relationship through song in freedom. Thanks so much for joining me this week. We have one more week in our series exploring Catholic music, and I look forward to seeing you then.